Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Never a dull moment when it comes to this Philadelphia Phillies squad. A walk-off for Bryce Harper. JT Realmuto does it again. I mean, let's be realistic, though. The New York Mets, they are even more of a joke than the Phillies. It takes the Mets to lose to the Phillies this year in walk-off form. And oh, by the way, Roman Quinn should have been out at home, but they did not apply the tag properly. That throw beat Roman Quinn without a doubt, but you actually have to tag Roman Quinn before he slides headfirst into home. Granted, you got one of the fastest players on the team in the league, really, running that fast. But come on, we all know that when we saw the play happen, we thought, oh, he's doomed. What a wonky ninth inning. What a wonky game. Entertaining, though. No lie, entertaining. I love the fact that JT just keeps giving the middle finger to Matt Klentak every single game. He hits his 8th homer of the year. He's at 20 RBIs. This guy's absurd. This guy is literally making himself more and more money as the days go by, because this is not even red hot. This is scorching on fire. And if he continues this, someone's going to pay him big time money. Hopefully, the Philadelphia Phillies can work that whole thing out. But somebody's paying this man, because holy hell is he performing at an all-time high. Now, we'll get more into this, but before we do, this episode is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power, and with over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. In addition, they will make sure that you receive all state and federal incentives when switching to solar. Make sure you check out their information. It's in the description. The bullpen actually kept this team in it until the very end. It was insanity. First, Spencer Howard, he struggles. No doubt about it. And he ends up leaving the game because of the blister, but he was struggling throughout the game. It wasn't like he had the best defense in the world. I don't know what the hell the Phillies do on their off time. Do they watch the Little League World Series highlights and just play like them? Because you have Bryce Harper, who we all love, misplay a ball in right field, and we'll give him the benefit of the doubt because, well, it's Bryce Harper, and you know the way that he prepares himself, and you know, I'm sure that he's eaten himself alive for misplaying that ball in right field. But you have Roman Quinn out there. What the hell was that? He runs how many feet in? And then while the ball's still up in the air, his shoulders just drop because he realizes the ball's 20 feet behind him. In what world? Didi Gregorius in the first inning, you have a beautiful double play ball, and he totally mishandles the throw to first base. The ball doesn't even go anywhere. The transfer. He can't find a way to get the transfer from his glove to his hand properly. That cost Spencer Howard a run. JT Realmuto with the throwing error. You could have had something else go wrong, but luckily, during a throw down to second base when Billy Hamilton tried to steal, there was a misplay on the ball. The ball is right there in the middle of the infield. Billy Hamilton takes off for third, but you got Didi stepping up, chasing the ball down, throwing it over to Alec Bohm to get a big out at third. And how about the miscue running the bases? Jay Bruce on a ball hit to the left side is going from second to third? What are they doing? Fundamentals. How do you do this? How is it this sloppy? And how is it this sloppy, yet you still win the baseball game? And that's when I say, wow, the New York Mets have to be worse than the Phillies. I know that's shocking. I know that's crazy to think that there's a team right now worse than the Phillies when it comes to baseball, but it is the New York Mets of all teams. Now, getting back to Spencer Howard, he did struggle off-speed pitches with the location. Ooh, it was not good. You had Dom Smith and Robinson Cano go back-to-back. You had changeup, you had breaking ball. Totally destroyed and left the ballpark. 2 outings now. And in both of these outings, I would say a little underwhelming. I'm not going to lie to you. Originally, we thought it was going to be DeGrom versus Spencer Howard. Phillies got lucky. No DeGrom. He had stiffness in his neck, I believe. And if you saw the clip trending on Twitter, they had a backdrop of a Phillies fanatic with DeGrom speaking to the media, I guess via Zoom, and they covered up the Philly fanatic with the New York Mets logos, and then the New York Mets logos literally fall, and it's the Philly fanatic behind Jake DeGrom. I just thought that was hilarious. Once again, it just defines the New York Mets, who they are, and what it's been like for the Mets organization for how many years now? It's absolutely hilarious. So, Spencer Howard, 3 in the third, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks. But as I mentioned, some of those 7 hits a little wonky because you have players who totally screwed some things up and hurt him. But at the end of the day, it wasn't like his stuff was overpowering. It wasn't like his stuff made me jump off my seat and go, "Wah!" He didn't have that type of stuff. And he had 2 outings now. I'm not going to lie, little underwhelmed in both. I'm not giving up on the kid. I'm not screaming he stinks. It's a weird environment. He's getting thrown into this. But I did expect more. And I think that's fair to expect more. You're talking about a big-time pitching prospect. All right? And when we're sold that this kid is a great pitcher and he's going to come up and be one of those starting rotation guys, you expect him to do that. So we'll see. We'll continue to keep an eye out on him. Now you have the blister situation, which means you might see Vince Velasquez again in the starting rotation. And here we go again. I feel like I do this every single damn year. Oh, wait. That's because we do this every single damn year with Vince Velasquez. But I'm sure you're going to see him again. You got the double headers coming up, and you know how that totally screws around with the pitching rotation as well. So just keep an eye out for Spencer Howard. I think it's fair to say, though, that we expect a little bit more. That's all. I mentioned growing pains for a while now when it came to calling these guys up. So in reality, you do need to realize that growing pains will happen. By the way, are they happening with Alec Bohm? I mentioned how in the last game, you had Jake Arrieta in the 5th inning. He blew up a bit, and there was a ground ball to Alec Bohm that I thought he should have had. Now, it was a tough play, hard-hit ball. Defense is not his best attribute, but that's a ball you need. And Alec Bohm even said that about his own game. That's the play I need to make. And Joe Girardi was praising how Alec Bohm, that is, was pretty hard on himself to make that type of play because it's a tough play. It was. But he knew he needed to have it, and I like that as well. For him to come out and go, I need to have that ball, 1 out, 5th inning, could have got a double play, could have ended that inning. That's big. I like that. I feel like he's in the right mindset, and he isn't struggling. He had his RBI today, first RBI in this baseball game. You saw what he did last game to get his first hit for the double down the left field line. He's doing pretty damn well in the batter's box right now. Not only that, how about that foul ball that he caught over the shoulder, running down the foul line? Bang! Now, I'm not going to lie, it looked a little awkward. Maybe it's because he's such a big human, but sometimes out there, doesn't he look a little goofy? Doesn't he look a little, not off balance, but I don't know. Something just doesn't seem like there's a lot of flow in when he's running or when he's moving. It's got to be because of his size. To be honest, though, I don't give a damn as long as he's still producing, as long as he's still hitting the baseball. And I'm not sitting here claiming he's going 3 for 4 every night. We got the next Mookie Betts. But in terms of what he has provided in his first couple games, I'm very intrigued. He looks like that. He knows what the hell he's doing up there in the batter's box compared to some of the other players on the Phillies roster right now. Speaking of that, Rhys Hoskins does enter himself back into the lineup, so he only had that 1 game off. Went back into the 2-hole, so not a big fan of Rhys in the 2-hole. That's where he is at the moment. Scott Kingery spoke before the game, and he was talking about a back injury, shoulder injury, seems to be beat up a bit. There's people questioning if the COVID-19 effects is one of the reasons why he's not producing at the rate that he can produce at. we don't know. I mean, we don't know the long-term effects of COVID-19, but he's going into some detail about the shoulder and the back, and to me, that's probably more realistic than the COVID-19 long-term effects. These are physical issues when he's trying to swing the bat. So with that being said, I think that is what's happening with Scott Kingery right now. Something is clearly not right, and he is completely lost. I mean, I don't know how you look that lost because of an injury. He just looks that lost in general. As if, just like Rhys Hoskins, you look lost because you're mentally not focused. You're mentally not in the right spot when you're in the box. It seems like that's what's happening with Scott Kingery more than anything physical. But you add the physical on top of that, and then, yes, that can be an issue as well. Aaron Nola in the bump in game 2 versus Mats. I think that's a good matchup for the Phillies, all right? I think that's good for the Phillies to maybe bounce back after that disgusting, pathetic effort versus the Baltimore Orioles. And you have your guy, Bryce Harper, talking about how disgusting that series really was against the Orioles. And not that that's breaking news by any means, but you have Bryce Harper being pretty damn open about, how disappointed he was with the efforts against the Baltimore Orioles. Support for Sports Talk with Broads is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. When you're in the shower and you're shaving and you get one of those, you get a cut, you don't have to worry about that with Manscaped. Because of their advanced skin-safe technology, their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce manscaping accidents. Not only that, LED lights for the shower, the battery lasts up to 90 minutes, a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. If you are listening to me right now, I know I want you to experience this firsthand. Trim that junk of yours. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BROD at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. How about that ninth, though? You tell me you have Alvarez get through some time out there on the bump, who is realistically one of your relievers that you can rely on. One of them, maybe the only one in reality that you can consistently rely on. One of my famous phrases this season to this point is, hey, at some time, there is going to be a time where a bad bullpen gets you a win, where a disgusting, awful, pathetic joke of a bullpen will find a way to get the job done. So when I see some of these outings by some of these bullpen guys, I go, well, that's the one time. That's the time where they actually get through it for you. And I couldn't believe that the Phillies got through what they did. Once you see Spencer Howard get out of the game, not that you were all crazy and going nuts for his outing anyway, but once you saw him leave and you realize, wow, they got to go through how many more innings with this bullpen? Let's be realistic. We all wrote the Phillies off. At this point, anytime you got to go into your bullpen, you think, well, game's over. And I know that there's a ton of not only Phillies fans, but sports bettors out there that will live bet the Phillies every time they won't live bet the Phillies, they'll live bet their opponent whenever the Phillies go up in a game. Because if the Phillies go up in a game and they got to go to their bullpen at some point, you can get some good odds on their opponent because you know that realistically there's a phenomenal chance that this bullpen is going to blow it. So Alvarez gives you some solid play, and you expect that out of him. Blake Parker came in. Adam Morgan with a nice little how do you do. He needed that big time based off of his last performance. Tommy Hunter came in, and then you got Hector Neris. Hector Neris with a 5-4 lead. 2 outs. So we got through the 2 outs. And even that was a little shaky. But when he got those 2 outs, you could take a couple deep breaths. And you're like, all right, you got Cano up in the box. Please, 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 one more, please. This bullpen got you to this point. Think about how many outs that bullpen needed to get you to the 1-run lead with 2 outs on the box score. And oh, there goes Robinson Cano right through the infield. Oh, tough play for Gene Segura at second base. And they find a way to tie up the baseball game. Can you believe it? Hector Neris. And I always have a debate with Jeff Mosher, Philadelphia Eagles insider, co-host of Inside the Birds, because he's so anti-Hector Neris. Hector Neris stinks. He's awful. How can you trust this guy? And I always thought that Hector Neris was playing a role that's not really his role. But how can you be mad at Hector Neris when he's going out there and for not this season, but like if you look at last season, he was okay, right? He's playing a role that's not his legit true role, and for what the circumstances were, I thought he did a good job last season. There's going to be times where you have a bad save, things are going to happen. This season, though, off to a tough start, another blown save, and it's not looking good for me, who defends Hector Neris for what he does. I mean, I look at this bullpen and I go, Mosh, you're really going to be freaking out about Hector Neris when you look at all of these problems. Hector Neris is the one that frustrates you the most. But hey, when he's blowing saves like this, how am I supposed to defend the man? It's not his fault that this team isn't properly constructed and they don't have a real closer where he could be maybe the setup man, late inning guy. It's not his fault, but he's got to be better than this. Last season he was. Last season he did get you some big-time saves. Well, he's not doing too hot in this season so far. And I know it's tough because you have a splitter that you don't throw for a strike. So with that being said, when the hitters are up there and they know the splitter's your go-to, they can find a way to properly put themselves in the right mindset of, hey, when it's going to be a splitter, it's probably going to be a ball. But if they do see that splitter and it's getting hung over the plate, I know what I'm going to do with it. That splitter's a tough pitch, though. He does get a lot of damage done with that splitter. Just not over the last two attempts. Oof, I'll tell you what. What a wild, wild ride. Emotional roller coaster, ups and downs, ups and downs. JT with that big-time bomb. I couldn't believe it. I almost fell out of my chair, honestly. He did it again. He did it again. How does he keep doing this? I think JT Realmuto is a phenomenal baseball player. This isn't sustainable. This is Mike Trout level stuff. This is Mookie Betts type stuff. This is the top of the league elite type stuff. And JT Realmuto is no doubt a very phenomenal player in this league. But he's not this good. And maybe he's that ticked off. Maybe he's that pissed, that upset with how Phillies management is handling this situation that he's got a chip on his shoulder big time and he's delivered. By all means, I'm here for that, and I'm here for this crazy journey that JT Realmuto is on this season, but wow, is this unbelievable. The dude's got 8 dingers already, and if you compare that to the rest of the league with the whole week off that they had to take when the Miami Marlins situation happened, this is absurd. And so is Bryce Harper, by the way. What Bryce Harper's been doing, you're talking MVP type season right now. And he delivers the walk-off. I mean, there's no better player at this point for the Phillies besides JT Realmuto to deliver a big-time walk-off like that. And, man, I love it. The way that guy plays the sport of baseball, it is chilling. It gives me goosebumps to see the way that he properly plays the game. He's like a child, honestly. And what I mean by that is you could see his face light up every time he takes the field. Every time he goes to right field, every time he's up to bat. The guy loves the game. The guy gives it all the time. He gives everything he has when it comes to that game. Even when he has a little bit of a mistake, which is going to happen. We're human beings, like he did in right field where the ball dropped in front of him. You could sense how frustrated he is with himself when he makes a play like that because he expects perfection out of his game. And don't even get me started with his approach to the plate. You know, you see guys up there like Scott Kingery, Rhys Hoskins, Roman Quinn at times, and clearly Bryce Harper is way better than those baseball players. But if you see the difference in approach, you just see the true professionalism every single time he's up at the plate. It's as simple as this. He doesn't give away at bats. And that's when you know you have a special player. There's plenty of guys that give away at bats. Let me just try and do this here, or whatever the case may be. He doesn't give up at bats. No matter what. He's so locked in. Oh, by the way, I want to talk about a situation before the walk-off. So you had Rhys Hoskins on at the plate, actually. And I'm watching the game with a couple buddies, and a couple of my buddies were texting me as well. Bunt the ball. Rhys can't hit. Bunt the ball. Get second and third so you can try and execute this. While I get where they're coming from, it's 2020. Am I the only one that realizes here it's 2020? No one's bunting over. No one. Like, that would never happen. That's not a thing anymore. While I see what you're saying, and I get it. Back in the day, that would be the play, and I wouldn't be against it because of how bad Rhys Hoskins is. And that Bryce Harper walk-off would have been a lot easier because Roman Quinn would have to go from third to home and not second to home. First off, you got to see if Rhys Hoskins can even execute a bunt. I mean, he can't execute much right now, right? But I digress. Nobody's bunting people over anymore. Giving away outs. That's what they claim. The analytical crowd will tell you you're giving away outs. You have a good chance with the scenario that you are given without giving away the out and moving the baseball over. And one of the texts I got was small ball works. Small ball is effective. That's how you win games. And I saw small ball happen just recently when Bryce Harper's shift happened. He put it down to third baseline. That was after a Rhys Hoskins walk. Rhys walked before that. So then you had some guys on base. And then you had some sacrifices in play, which scored some runs. And that was small ball. But, I mean, it's 2020. And these friends of mine, they watch baseball. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You're going to start pulling your hair out because guys are bunting. Do you watch baseball? I know you do. So you're going to start getting all frustrated because he's not bunting there? I expect that from the guy I work with at 97.3 ESPN who's the get off my lawn guy who wants fighting back in hockey, who wants old school baseball, who doesn't like analytics, who want all the players in preseason of NFL to play because they want to see a sustained drive early in the preseason. Like the old school guys. I would get it from them, but come on. You're up with the times, fellas. You're not bunting them over. In what world? It's 2020 baseball. I just thought that was pretty funny. I'm thinking, really? Really? Well, the Phillies definitely escaped not facing DeGrom. Although I always told myself before the game happened, they don't give DeGrom run support. So do the Phillies have a chance? With Spencer on the mound, though, it was such a coin flip, if you will. But they got the job done. They found a way to get a W, and in an exciting way, of course, with your superstar stepping up after that tough series against Baltimore. So, there you have it. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget about my sponsors, Manscaped. Use promo code BROD at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. And don't forget about Orbit Energy and Power. They also provide not just solar energy systems, but water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.